Miss Neely Fuller, is it correct for black females to attempt to be with other black females if the arrangements with black males keep not working out?
What's that question again?
Is it correct for black females to attempt to be with other black females from black males?
What do you mean? What do you mean by with?
Attempting to be together in a arrangement, like pretending to be a girlfriend type stuff.
Not according to the code. According to the Compensatory Counter-Racist Code, this is what the white supremacists want for black people. They want, if I understand your question, they intend for huge numbers, probably not all, but they have already shown they are on board with huge numbers of black females marrying each other, even if they marry their sister. White supremacists don't care. You marry your sister, if you're black, and you can't find a worthy black male, and that's a conclusion easy to come to. Marry your sister. I'll recognize it. Rubber stamp it. And one of you be the male and the other one be the female, because I'm going to put both of you in the army. You're going to die on some battlefront. You won't abandon each other. Because you're right there together. And I won't have to worry about you running off and going nowhere trying to catch up with some fella that you think might get away. Because, hey, you married your sister. She's right there in the same army with you. Right there in the same barracks when you can have an arrangement. And with all the armies all over the world, like being in the French Foreign Legion, you're always together. So I can always rely on you to be where you need to be. I don't have to send some police to find you because you're trying to catch up with your boyfriend. In the case of, like, you've always had that male problem of going what they call AWOL, absent without leave. And why did he go absent without leave? Trying to catch up with his girlfriend. So if we can even get enough black males to pair off with each other, ultimately we're going to need a whole bunch of soldiers to fight a whole bunch of people over here, over there, little scattered skirmishes and whatnot. We got people who are opposing what we are doing all over the place. And a lot of our prime time, what they call alpha males, are perishing. And these little, what we call token wars here and there, and every 15 minutes you got another one coming up over here. And, they're getting their legs blown off. And, hey, we got a big operation here. We need some extra bodies. So these bodies, there's plenty of black bodies around all over this planet. Put them together, and mix them and match them any kind of way, and you'll have less problems out of them because they're highly sexualized, a lot of these black people. So if we can control their sexual inclinations, we can control everything about them. See, we know that about sex. You control a person's sexual inclinations, you get complete control of it, steer it where you want to go, and you got control of everything, all the other areas of activity. Get control of that eighth area of a black person's sexuality. That's what it comes down to. That's what the white supremacists are doing now all over the world. Get control of every black person's sexuality and steer it right where you want it to go so it will serve what? The system of white supremacy. Now, we can't tell them that's what we're doing naturally because we don't ever tell them, that white supremacy exists except over yonder somewhere. It's out there somewhere. Somebody's a white supremacist, but it ain't me, you know. But I'm going to do you a favor. Mm-hmm. I'm going to improve your sexuality, because you black people don't know what to do with your sexuality. But I'm going to improve it. So I'm going to give you some new categories. You black people love stuff that's new. So I'm not going to just be satisfied with just what you call the old-fashioned and a handful of black people who, you know, are kind of confused about what they want to be sexually or what they were born, what they need to have an operation on to catch up with the sexuality that they were supposed to have. But we'll straighten it out for you, because we straighten out everything with you Negroes anyway, because you ain't got no sense about nothing. Not only about sex, you ain't got no sense about nothing unless we put it there. But for our convenience, we got to do something about your sexuality, because this thing about just male with female with you black people, that ain't going to work for us. That is definitely not going to work for the system of white supremacy. Mm-hmm. So we got to scatter your sexuality all over the place. Mm-hmm. So it's completely unrecognizable.
Yes, sir.
So in answer to the question, and I've answered that question many a time, I think. But yes, it's called racist sexual confusion. They are confusing black people not only in sexuality, which is the most powerful way to confuse people, but in all areas of activity, economics, education. You black people say you want more education. Okay, I give it to you, but it's got to be according to my rules. I don't want to hear no more about that CRT stuff. Don't bring that around me, or you ain't gonna get. You're gonna get an education, all right, but it ain't gonna be nothing that you like. All right. See, so they are confusing black people. Why? More than they ever have. Why? Because if you can keep people confused in all areas of activity, and particularly in sex, you can confuse them in everything, and you can dominate them in everything. That's the main thing.
Yes, sir.
You're just not confusing them just to have a whole bunch of confused people. Mm-hmm. You can steer them around, just like you got a dog on a leash. See?
Yeah. Thank you for your question. Mr. Fuller, continuing his question, what was the statement that you made about the white man's anus that you've mentioned on several programs, but for those who are new to the program, and since Swall introduced this particular question, this racist sexual confusion, what is that statement that you made about the white man's anus?
The white man's anus is the new black vagina. Think about it. Black vaginas are becoming more and more obsolete, even as I speak, by the minute. That black female who's looking down at her vagina, the white supremacists are saying, that's obsolete. You ain't supposed to have no vagina. Pour some semen in there and seal that up. And then you won't have no babies that we got to take care of. Because that's who's going to take care of them. Because we're taking care of you. What do you know? And you definitely ain't got no black male to look out for you, because you got to look out for him. You give birth to him. And then you got you a... When you give birth from a black male who is supposed to be a father of your child, you really got two children in the system of white supremacy. You, black lady, that creature that you call your husband ain't qualified to be nobody's husband, because we're seen to that. He ain't going to ever qualify in the system of white supremacy, because he is dependent on me, us white supremacists, just like you are. So we'll seal up your vagina, make it obsolete, and so if we allow you to have one, you'll just have it there. It's just an ornament, like a lamp or a clock. well, it won't be doing nothing, because the black male will be chasing behind a white male, saying that white male's anus is much more important than any black female's vagina. That's where they're turned it into. In order to do what? Confuse. See, they don't care how they do it, just as long as it's confusion, and dress it up and pay big money for anybody who's on board with it. Now, any black person out here who just wants to stick with this male-female thing, you're going to be out there on your own looking silly. Because in a few years, hey, if you ain't into racial scatterization and letting us do this sexual sabotage on all you black people, you ain't up with the times.